All right, everybody, thank you for your patience. This is our second April meeting. Thank you for coming out. It is 7:38. If everybody could please rise and pledge the flag, we are called to order. Roll call, please.
Saba Al-Zayed.
Here.
Amy High.
Here.
James Fee.
Here.
Megan Nolan.
Here.
Diane Gundrum.
Here.
Tony Heil.
Here.
Kyle Schenk.
Here. And for the record, we were in executive session since about 7 o'clock until 7:35, discussing some matters of potential litigation. And with that said, Mr. Truman, take it away.
Okay, good evening, everybody. First up, for council approval, or excuse me, for council consideration rather, a sign fee waiver request for Growing Bridgeport Together in relation to the advertising of the upcoming Bridgeport River Market season. Members of council, if you recall, Mr. Gundrum from Growing Bridgeport Together spoke publicly last meeting with regard to the update on the comings and goings of their organization and the relaunching of the Bridgeport River Market. And within the letter, the request letter that Mr. Gundrum submitted last meeting was also a sign fee waiver request. We've calculated the permit fee, and the fee would be $50. So waited till we got that in place, and now placing this now on the agenda for council consideration, waiver request for the sign fee.
I know, Mr. Gundrum, you had described this with the previous. Anything to add before we consider the fee? I figured maybe. Thanks.
Before this goes into vote, I submitted a letter recusing myself from this vote due to my position on the board of Growing Bridgeport Together.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Al-Zayed, seconded by Mr. Heil, to approve the sign fee waiver request for Growing Bridgeport Together. Additional questions or comments from council or the public? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that is unanimous. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Gundrum.
Next up for council consideration is Resolution 2023-11, authorizing disposal of a 2006 Ford F-250 via auction. Members of council, if members of the audience, if you recall, in recent months, we have made the purchase and acquisition of a new 2022 Ford pickup truck to replace. Actually, we made the purchase of two trucks. One has been delivered to replace two aging trucks in our fleet. This is one of the two aging trucks in question. Obviously, we can see it is 17, 18 years old, and it has certainly served us well, but it is getting to the point where it's outlived its utility. And as is customary, if we wish to dispose of a vehicle via auction, we are required to adopt a resolution to memorialize that.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution and authorize disposal.
I'll second.
Motion from Mr. Heil, seconded by Ms. High, for a resolution authorizing the disposal of the truck. Questions or comments from council or the public? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Next up for council consideration, Resolution 2023-12, authorizing the destruction of borough documents per the Pennsylvania Municipal Records Act. We have, long story short, we have about 60 some odd banker's boxes full of old documents, and I am seeking authorization, again, per the PA Municipal Records Act, to hire a document destruction company to come in and destroy those for us. Again, in accordance with the act, we have to adopt a resolution, and Exhibit A attached demonstrates or displays rather exactly what the nature and date and contents of those boxes are.
And how far, sorry, how far back does that go? Does it matter, you said?
Oh gosh, we have there's boxes. Well, there's documents dating back to 1991. But dependent upon the nature of the document, some documents you have to keep into perpetuity. Some documents 2, 3, 5, 7 years. But all the documents that are set for destruction have been vetted, and again in accordance with the Municipal Records Act.
I'll make the motion to authorize a resolution.
I'll second.
Motions from Mr. Heil, seconded by Ms. Gundrum, to authorize the destruction of the documents per the Municipal Records Act. Questions or comments from council or the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, up next, for council consideration, a curb cut request. The address in question is 213 East 4th Street. Members of council, in your packets, you will find a memorandum as well as an information packet from Building Codes official Steve Wanzik, dated April 18th, referring to the curb cut request in question. Mr. Stephen Debro, owner of 213 East 4th Street, has requested a curb cut to the rear of his property. And after discussion with Mr. Wanzik, this appears to be about as clean-cut, slam dunk of a curb cut request as there can be. There's actually already a concrete or asphalt pad in the rear of the property. This would simply be making it easier for the property owner to access that pad by installing a curb cut. Are there any questions from members of council on this
I
application?
think everybody's reviewing the digital version.
Oh, sure.
If everything looks good, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motions from Ms. High, seconded by Mr. Fee, to approve the curb cut request. Questions, comments from council or the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Mr. President? If I may just
Please,
ask one question.
absolutely.
I assume, Mr. Truman, that the curb cut is off of Front Street?
Yes, that's correct. This is the part of 4th Street that is boxed in by Front, Ford, and Vine.
Right.
So yes, there's already a pad back there. It's not access off of a major road. While it is a street, for all intents and purposes, that segment of Front Street really functions more as an alley. Yes, there's no hindrance, no loss of on-street parking that creates any adverse impact. Pretty innocuous request.
And no need for a highway occupancy permit. That was just wanted to make it clear for everybody.
You got it, Mr. Wooden. Thank you, sir, for clarifying. Next up for council consideration, approval of change order number 1 relating to the 2023 paving project. Contractor is Alan Myers on this one, well, on the overall paving project. Pardon me as I thumb through my documents. Yes, thank you. Thank you for your patience. The summary of the change orders is actually the third page of the 3-page packet of information in your packets, and the change in question was the purchase of manhole risers in order to elevate the manholes to a point where they would still be flush with the newly paved street surface.
Any additional commentary on that, Mr. Wood? It seems pretty clear cut.
Yeah, I think it was for a de minimis amount, $1,250 for the 5
correct.
risers, and the existing manholes under the old paving were below the grade, so this is an improvement, and we recommend it. Thank you.
Way to keep out the Ninja Turtles. I will make an order to approve the change order.
I'll second.
A motion's from Mr. Heil, seconded by Ms. Gundrum, to approve the change order regarding the paving project. Questions or comments from council or the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up for council consideration is approval of payment estimate number 1, again to the contractor in question, Alan Myers, for the 2023 paving project. And pay estimate number 1 would total $372,381.12. Members of council, page 1 of the aforementioned 3-page packet is the payment estimate number 1 to Alan Myers. As you will see in row number 2 of the payment estimate form, the total estimated contract price for this project is $711,700. So in essence, this is just a little over half of the total monies due to Alan Myers. There are still a handful of punch list items that the contractor needs to complete relating to some damage to concrete, some line striping errors that were made, and some other routine, mundane cleanup that they need to take care of that needs to be addressed prior to release of the remainder of those funds. But Mr. Woyden has evaluated the project, assessed what has been done fully and completely at this point, and there's no reason to hold up remitting payment on those aspects of the project at this point.
And routine things that need to be fixed does not mean that it is detrimental to the project at all. Like, in whole, it doesn't mean that they're not doing a good job. It's just these are routine things that we might expect from other pavers if they were doing it.
Eggs, yeah.
making excuses for it, but
No. I hear what you're saying, Vice President Heil. Yes, like as the old adage goes, you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. These are eggs that you would expect to be broken during most paving projects that need to be created.
And how much of this, if any, is covered by the grants that we get? And I know it depends on which.
$413,000 of it, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Well, with that in mind, I'll make the motion to approve the payment.
Second.
Motion's from Mr. Heil, seconded by Ms. Alzayed to approve the payment. Questions or comments from the council or the public on that? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up for council consideration is authorization of purchase from the vendor Cumberland Marine. This would be water rescue equipment for the police department, or for officers within the police department, and the total amount due would be $14,330. Members of council, as we're all aware, the certain members of the Bridgeport Fire Department and Bridgeport Police Department have been undergoing swift water rescue training. And part of that, once you have your officers and your firefighters certified, you need to equip them to be able to properly go out there and perform the subsequent rescues. This would be for dry suits and other related ancillary equipment. And Cumberland Marine is a CoStar's approved vendor, thereby circumventing the need to put a requisition like this out for bid or for the bidding. Bypasses the bidding process because they're CoStar's vendors is what I'm trying to say.
After purchase, how soon would we have this?
Chief, have they given an ETA on that?
I don't know when the actual delivery of the suits. It depends if they have to be, if they're just semi or if they're tailored or not. But the guy, I did get him, he's coming down here in the next week or so to actually fit the guy, so it's a 2-hour ride. So he said that if they aren't tailored, you might be able to have some of those in stock. So it's good timing because May 6th is our next training day in the water.
So we're not, I was asking because I know the main reason we're doing this is learning from the flood from 2021. It'll be 2 years in late August, early September. But so we won't need to wait that long for that kind of thing in hurricane season if we ended up with a storm like that, which hopefully we don't. Just making sure we're prepared and everything's good before that kind of problem could arise again.
Yeah, I believe so. So we should have our those other pieces of equipment, and as you know, the boats and the other gear here with the fire department. So they're good to go.
This was already budgeted for in the 2023 plan, right?
Yeah, I believe this was a capital purchase that was that was budgeted in the 2023 budget development. Yes, Ms. Hi. Sorry, I almost called you Funahashi.
Oh, yeah. Great. Let's follow the plan then. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion's from Ms. High, seconded by Mr. Heil to authorize the purchase of the water rescue equipment. Questions or comments from council or the public on that one? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, and for council consideration, approval of bills and salaries for the month of April 2023.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion's from Ms. Alzad, seconded by Ms. Nolan to pay the people. Questions or comments from council or the public? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Yeah. Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, very good. Moving on to unfinished business. Are there any items of unfinished business that need to be discussed this evening?
Should we make a motion to remove unfinished business from the agenda?
I have been here for 10 years now, and I don't think we've ever had anything under unfinished business.
Keep it in your back pocket. You never know when you're going to need it. All right, seeing none, we can proceed to committee reports. Are there any committee reports to share?
Yeah, I have from the Sustainability Advisory Committee. I would just like to say thank you to everyone who came out this past Saturday for our annual Spring Cleanup Day. This year we had 25 volunteers, and we filled just about 30 bags of trash. So it was, I'm assuming it was a very windy winter. So thank you, everybody who showed up. But I just want to also say, pardon me, aside from thanking everybody who showed up, we also had members of our business community who came out for Cleanup Day as well. So I just wanted to give a little special thank you to Dr. Ray from DeKalb Chiropractic, Ryan Brennan, who is the new owner of the Depot Bar, and Melissa Nowitzki from the Bridgeport Rib House all showed up and helped with Cleanup Day. And I just wanted to give an extra special thank you to Melissa and the Rib House for providing the yummy wings that she always brings every year. So thank you again.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Nolan. Any other committee reports?
I would just like to quickly advertise that the events committee will be meeting on Monday, May the 1st, if you can believe it, at 6:30 right here at Borough Hall. So I look forward to seeing everyone there.
All right, very good. Seeing no further committee reports, we can proceed to the mayor's report. Mayor Jack Sear.
Thank you.
Just starting off, this Saturday from 10 to 11:30 a.m. will be my monthly office hours in my office on the first floor of Borough Hall. So please join if you'd like to say hi or if you have any issues to discuss or anything else. Please note that Thursday, May 4th is International Firefighters Day, so please make sure to thank any members of our fire department that you happen to see. I know that they work extremely hard at all hours of the day and night to ensure that our community is safe, so please make sure that they know how much you appreciate them. My annual mental health fair is coming up. It's going to be taking place right here in Council Chambers on Saturday, May 20th from 1 to 3 p.m. My goal is to destigmatize discussions surrounding mental health, so please join us to learn more about the resources available that you just might not know exist and some other fun stuff that I got planned. Finally, we've rescheduled the Bridgeport Pet Fair for Saturday, July 22nd, so please just put that in your calendar. We have as many of the vendors as possible who could make that new date, plus a few others, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, on the Firefighter Appreciation Day, we did have our smoke detectors go off at 2 in the morning at our house, and Steve Wanzik was at our house, and I think Ken was at our house at 2:15 in the morning with my wife calling, and thankfully it was just that they were in error, and he gave us the tips on how to fix them, and it's not privileged information. Anyone in Bridgeport can ask if they have an issue with their smoke detectors. I'm glad we replaced all of them, and you don't think about you replace the batteries, but you can get information from your firefighters before there's an emergency. So please know we appreciate them.
Thank you, Mr. Heil. Moving on to the chief's report. Chief Beretta.
Good evening, everyone. As you may have noticed or seen in reports, we had some issues with attempted thefts and thefts of motor vehicle on the 20th of April overnight. Bridgeport Police broke up a ring of 4 people that were identifying Kia and Hyundai vehicles. Some of them were actually broken into, steering columns broken, and they were running. But because of the timing of it, they didn't get away with the 4 or 5 that they had. But there was one that was stolen. To help with some level of resolution with that, I've ordered 100 wheel locks from Kia and Hyundai. They should be here in about 2 weeks. The next day, I picked up 10 units from Upper Merion and gave out the 10 units that next morning after the thefts. So if you have a Kia or a Hyundai, I'll put it back out again once the wheel locks come in, and just come show proof of residency and something that you have a car with that brand and make and model, and I'll be glad to get you a wheel lock. What Vice President Heil said, talk about the water rescue. We're going to be going out, I believe it's May 6th, onto the water, or the 5 guys that are going out in the water. Hopefully it'll be the last training part of the evolution for the certification for the 5 Bridgeport police officers, along with the other 15 Bridgeport firefighters for the water rescue. Just a reminder, noise ordinances, 70 decibels, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And with the overnight, it's 60 decibels. So be mindful of your neighbors. If you have issues, it's going to get warmer. People are going to open up their windows. So please be mindful. Curfew. There's a curfew in Bridgeport if you're less than 17 years of age. 10 p.m. on weeknights and 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights till 6 a.m. Just a reminder. Targeted enforcement, you might see some additional police cars on Ford Street, and after some of the critical incidents that have occurred nationwide, we've had stepped up enforcement and presence in the area of the Bridgeport Elementary School and Ford Street, both in the morning and in the afternoon. Along with that, recently, because of complaints, we're responsive to complaints. So Union was one of them, and we've been doing some enforcement specifically on the stop signs on Union, on Prospect, and on Ford Street recently. So if you have any issues, whether it's speeding cars or certain intersections, just give us a call, and I'll put it on the list for specific enforcement. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Chief, just want to say, I talked to a few of the folks, I think it was from Footsteps. Was Officer Sell down there last week, maybe?
Yes, she was.
I heard very good things. I know everybody in town appreciates Officer Sell's work with kids, but I just wanted to send some feedback over that I was told directly that they really enjoyed having her there.
Good. It's great. Thank you, President President Schenk.
He'll answer to pretty much anything.
Wow. But yeah, we did some posts about that, so the kids love that contact, and so do the adults.
Speaking of schools, I know at a past meeting we talked about the traffic and cars on Bush or around the school, and making sure kids are safe as they're walking, and also making sure drivers are safe because they can't see the kids. I know that there have been signs put up. Has there been anything else done to keep track of that, or any incidences since, I guess, in the last month?
So usually the problem is in the afternoons, and for the first period of time, I had 2 officers up there on foot, and then they were making contact with people. So in talking with the principal after that, he hasn't had any voiced any other concerns. But if anyone does see anything else, and we have the police officers there, we're reminding people because we want to keep the kids safe. So it's coincided with these difficult events, but our presence hopefully has made people think about their safer procedures.
Thanks. I know that Mr. Puzio is always there as a crossing guard, and we appreciate him. And Mr. Siders does a thankless, well, not thankless, we thank him all the time, but he does an important job on Ford Street because it's a big intersection with the kids, but there are so many that just swarm down, including my own. So just keeping on alert and not being lackadaisical about it is very important.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Moving on to new business. Are there any items of new business to discuss tonight from council or mayor? I would just make a note that the borough recently renewed our contract for a natural gas provider. We are a 36-month term contract is expiring on May 10th. So we have been administratively monitoring the market and rates over the last few months, I should say, to find when that low point hits to try to lock in a deal. We have locked in what I believe to be is the lowest rate the lowest rate I've seen in quite some time. It's still drastically higher than what it was back when we executed this agreement in 2020 or 2019. We were paying 37.5 cents per increment per CCF, and that's going up to 52 cents per CCF. But that's just the market of just the energy market in recent months and years. So I needed to do that as quickly as possible because it's the offers that are provided to me by energy providers expire at close of business each day because they fluctuate with the market, obviously. So I'll bring that in front of for council for retroactive ratification at the next meeting, I believe.
And that increase in that cost is comparable to what you're seeing from other municipalities, or even better potentially. So we're not just verifying that you're making a good choice here.
Yes, Vice President Heil. It's not in this situation. It's not necessarily a comparison that we do amongst other municipalities. It's farming the contract out to the varying energy providers that are out there and just finding the best price. Over the last several weeks, I've seen it vacillate between 83.4 cents per unit down to 52.05, which is what we locked in at. So
Appreciate you pouncing on that good price, Keith. Great work.
any other items of new business for this evening? All right, seeing none, we can move on to open forum and announcements. Are there any announcements for this evening? I would just take a moment to reiterate something that was posted on Facebook earlier this week. The Bridgeport Carnival will be coming back. This will be our 6th year. If it weren't for COVID, it would be our 7th consecutive year. The dates are going to be June 20th to the 24th, 6 to 10 p.m. the first 4 nights, 3 to 10 on Saturday. We have live music, 4 fantastic bands. The beer and wine garden will be back. We will have our local vendors area on Saturday night. Lots of great stuff, face painting, caricature artist. Stay tuned on social media and the website for additional updates. Look forward to seeing you there. Seeing no other announcements, we can proceed to public comment. Are there any members of the public that wish to come forward this evening to speak?
Good evening, Council. It's John Gundrum, 312 Grove Street. In prior years, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I believe it was, about creating a community garden down by the railroad bridge off of DeKalb. There was, I believe, one of the things that stopped it is because PennDOT was going to utilize that for the construction of Chester Valley Trail. Now that that's finished, I was curious if there would be any interest in pursuing having a community garden within the borough.
I'll say that despite the fact that the trail is finished, those lots are not back on the market, for lack of a better term, just yet. But it's certainly something that administration's keeping their eye on.
Okay.
Acquisition of said, irrespective of what the use would be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for keeping an eye on that, Keith, and thanks for bringing it up, John.
Any other public comment?
Hi, Joe Ricco from 419 Holstein. I reached out about the line markings on the pavement. I mean, I heard you say that there were some mistakes that were made. I don't know if what I reached out about was included in that. The sightline triangle at Holstein and Hurst is like twice, if not more, bigger than it was. I was wondering if that could be.
Did you email me and I forgot to get back to you?
Yeah, I emailed you. And
I'm sorry about that. I had the answers and they're sitting in a draft, but I'll let Mr. Trim. But I apologize for not sending that. Now I recall you sending the email over. Okay.
Beth, thanks for getting back to me on that.
Joe, I do have your email in my queue of things to go out and take a look at. You have not been forgotten. Allow me to go out and take a look at exactly what you're talking about, because I knew there are line striping errors further down towards Holstein and Grove, maybe the street up, but or street down, or the Bush, but I wasn't acutely aware of any mistakes made at Hurst and Holstein. But that being said, let me go take a look, and I know your email has an explanation of what you perceive to be different or incorrect. Let me compare and contrast, and I will certainly get back to you.
Okay, yeah, and just to go on that, there's also no more crosswalk at Prospect and 4th. There used to be, and there's not anymore. That's just another note, I guess.
I will. I'll check and see if I have that on my punch list. We're actually meeting with the contractor tomorrow at 9 a.m. So
Okay.
we'll look at both. We'll look at both within 12 hours time. So all right.
I apologize again for not getting back to you. In fact, Mayor Beth texted me and said, remember to send that email, and then I didn't. So my apologies. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate that.
That was 4th and Prospect, Joe? The crosswalk. Thanks. All right, seeing no further public comment, council can certainly entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, it's 8:13. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.